.11-second quarter mile. I've run a 10.82. I mean, it's just like, it's unbelievable. And on top of that, it is the fastest production car we have ever done on a road course. So, you know, our competitors at the racing school here, Dodge, a really good competitor. You know, that car is more like Ben Roethlisberger, the retired quarterback from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Exceptional, Super Bowl championship winning. The Shelby GT500 is more like Patrick Mahomes, right? It can not only do a drag strip in a sub-11-second quarter mile, it can literally take the road courses at almost, you know, 4,000, just under 4,000 pounds, right? Still be the fastest and punch way above its weight class on the road course. So how do we get there? First, you start with the engine. If you think of the Shelby GT350 was the 5.2 liter flat plane crank, 8250 redline, Tremec 3160 manual box in there. You take that engine, you change some of the internals, some of the connection pieces, you put a cross plane crank in it, and then you bolt on with our partners a 2.65 liter Eaton-based supercharger that sits really low in between the V and the V8, so you don't have that oscillating weight higher, which is worse for a road course, to develop that 760 horsepower. When we launched the Gen 5 Mustang in 2005, we were so excited about our 4.6 liter having 300 horsepower. Our Gen 6 Mustang, 4-cylinder, EcoBoost, 2.3 liter, has over 300 horsepower out of that 2.3 liter displacement. We bolt on a 2.65 liter displacement supercharger on top of that 5.2 to help generate that 760 horsepower and 600 plus pound-feet of torque. Now, when you get it through from the engine, now you have to still carry it down farther down the driveline. The Ford Performance engineers worked with Tremec to develop Tremec's first 7-speed dual clutch transmission. Now, a lot of people are like, well, you know, where's my third pedal? We were out to develop the fastest road course Mustang we've ever done. And if you use that third pedal, which I love, right? You push the clutch in, you grab the gear shifter, you put it in, you roll your toe across the accelerator to blip the accelerator to get it in there, to rev match, to get it out. That's maybe a quarter of a second if you're good, like, you know, Grauer or Delfio or Terzus over here. Terzus might be faster, but quarter of a second. This transmission shifts in 80 milliseconds. If you say on a 15-turn road course, you're going to have to shift multiple times to get around the road course. If you take a quarter second and subtract it from 80 milliseconds, that is a hell of a lot of distance on a road course that you're making up on that shifting.
The engineers were worried that it wasn't going to live up to expectations. It took a while with Tremec to really understand how good this box could be. We ended up with a world-class transmission that is so intelligent, it's always in the right gear. It does everything exactly right in automatic mode as well as manual mode. We had our development team run both manual mode and automatic mode, and virtually identical lap times, whichever way you shift it. And like Jim said, way faster than a manual could have ever been. We had some very early prototype cars with manuals before this transmission was ready. It wasn't even in the ballpark compared to the dual clutch. So, amazing transmission. We did a lot of work to make the shifts exactly timing-wise and gear selection-wise what you would do if you were shifting it manually. So we had the Billy Johnsons and Steve Thompson, our V-Dyne guy, run the car in manual mode, and we challenged Tremec. We want it to be exactly the same, where you can overlay the automatic mode versus the manual mode. We want it to always be in the same gear as they are. And they pulled it off, and it's an amazing trans. It's got a couple other few tricks that it can do. One of the cool ones is we talked about you can do a dual paddle pull. If you're in traffic, you can just do a dual paddle pull. It gives you temporary neutral. You can flip the throttle, so it's like pushing in a clutch. If you're at a stop, we all know the old torque converter automatics. You can do a 2-footed burnout, or you can do a 2-footed launch. We've actually designed that into this transmission as well. You can hold both paddles at a stop, hold the brake, wide open throttle in the gas. It'll bang off the rev limiter, release the paddles, and it's just like sidestepping a clutch. If you do it with traction control on, it'll give you basically a performance launch. If you do it with traction control off, you can now do a 2-footed burnout just like you could with a old torque converter automatic. It's pretty cool. You don't have to use the line lock. It's a cool feature, and it works really well. So anyway, back to Jim.
The width of the caliper, it's amazing to me, is wider than the tire contact patch that you have on there. So that's the stop portion. Calibrated specifically for the vehicle and integrated into the calibration for each of these vehicles here, both the GT500 and the Mach 1 that we'll talk about. Next thing that you want to talk about from a partner standpoint is like the weight, if you will. On the carbon fiber track package vehicle that is here, we work with a partner called Carbon Revolution. They did the GT350 wheel, the painted black GT350 wheel that was carbon fiber, and the engineering team went to Carbon Rev and said, okay, we want you to make the outside diameter an inch bigger, we want you to make it a wider tire to hold to it, and we want it the same weight as the 19 GT350.